G class, what is this?
Say, Rostra.
That might be. It's an MTI 24 track. Okay. This is probably the most common tape machine in the world. I would venture to say MCI probably makes more tape machines. It sells more than anybody else. Okay.
Keep blending in the telephone. This is right now.
I couldn't tell you. I've never seen them on the news, man. They're located before a lot of days. Advance it ahead. Let me find some neat stuff.
Yeah. Oh, try the light.
That's the lights though?
Sure.
Yeah.
I can.
We like it.
So there's one here, there's one back.
There's one back there.
Is that okay?
Focus, focus.
Yeah, you know what? There, one thing I forgot to say when we were talking about tracks, machines, how many tracks? I missed their 12 track. Scully makes a 12 track machine. Oh. And it's on 1-inch tape. And they don't make them anymore, but you still find them around. You know what this thing is called? It's called an auto locator. This is an auto locator too. It's MCI has already made it obsolete. MCI has planned obsolete. Every 6 months they make the latest product obsolete. They have an auto locator floor out now. This one does the job. Zip it ahead. Let's see what we get to next. Okay, this is the transport. I guess we'll just go through and name off the parts, and if there's any questions you have, I'll tell you what they are. What is this?
Video.
Okay. What is this?
Keep that.
That's a tape guide. No. What's this? That's that little tension bar I was telling you about. Okay. When you thread these things, the tape comes around here. Comes around here, goes around this end of the tension bar, comes around this end of the tape guide, and goes in here. The erase head is here. Board head is here, and that's the head shield right there. Playback head is right here, and that's the head shield for it. Okay. This is called head block. Okay, what's this? And that is they put grooves in like that because it doesn't wear out as fast. Like that for a while, MCI just made solid control and solid rubber, and they found by putting those grooves in like that, it didn't wear out as fast, and it didn't make the tape skew quite as bad. This little device right here is a photoelectric cell. Actually, it's infrared, and when you thread the tape through that, it trips and turns the transport on. It turns these real motors on, and all system goes. So that's the little photo sensor, tape sensor. What's this? That's a tape guide, but it's also a tachometer. That's the thing that drives the counter on the auto locator. It's that one there. So this is the one right here, okay? And that is take up reel, okay? Starting over yonder. That's the on and off switch right there. On, off. This is the very speed, this red knob here. Everybody that I work with always called it VSO. That stands for very speed oscillator. Okay, that's the very speed knob right there. And this is the little selector knob that you use. It's in the red position or on PAR. This little knob is engaged, going to very speed, and this little red LED comes on here, telling you that you're in very speed. Fixed gives you the fixed speed of either 15 or 30 IPS. And the EXT is for an external speed oscillator. If you want to drive a machine with an oscillator for speed control, that's what the external is for. Okay? But this is a speed switch. Oh, you switch them. Low speed is 15 IPS and high speed is 30 IPS. This is a tape lifter defeat right here. Okay? When it's pushed to the right, as you're looking at it, the lifters are back in and the tape can ride along the heads. When it's to the left, it's lifting the tape away from it. Okay? And it's an automatic function when you're in rewinding fast forward. It's lifting away. But if you should want to hear the tape going by the heads, find the beginning of the song or something, you can take your finger and push that to the right so that the tape wide closer to the heads. It's on the tape. That's a rewind button. That's a fast forward button. That's a stop button. That's a play button. And that's a record button. Okay? Basically. MCI is kind of nice. All little machines have their own little works, ways they work. For an MCI to go into record, you hit the play button with the machine playing. And if you want to put it in record, you can do that just by hitting the record button. And if you want to take it out of record, you can do that just by hitting the play button. Some machines you have to push both of these at the same time. They've both got to press. With MCI, once it's in the play mode, you can just hit record. It's kind of neat. This shield button here defeats the head shields. And if you press that button and the head shields are up, the head shield will pop down. Okay? If you want to make an edit, if you want to shoot the tape back and forth across the head or something like that, and you need to mark on the tape for some reason, push the little shield button and the head shields pop down in. Okay? The edit button defeats the take-up reel and puts the machine into play and basically just spills tape. Bad tape or tape that you're not going to use. That's what the edit button is. Okay? This is the torque limit. Torque limit switches. You have high torque, medium torque, and low torque. How much tension is on the heading. Okay? I don't know how they have it here, but ours I like to run on high tension all the time. So if you're rewinding a tape and you hit the stop button, there the tape near it, it's long to slow down and hit the stop. If you're running on one of the lower tensions, you hit the stop button. Anyway, that's tape tension, basically. Torque that's on tape. MVC. Any guesses? Manual velocity control.
We got the C right.
Yeah. See the little arrows pointing to either direction? Right there they are. Let's see them. Too bad. No. Should have been a smoker. Is that not smoking in that same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long as he's got the long. Back to manual velocity control. If the tape is in stop mode, actually it works in either mode. See, there's a little red LED at the top of this little dipstick here. And if the tape is in the stop mode and it's just sitting there, this is touch sensitive, this little dipstick. And when you touch it, you move it either direction. The tape will manually, you have manual control over the velocity of the tape. That's all it is. And like I said, if it's in the stop position and you mess with this little thing, the tape will stay against the heads. And you can peel it back or forward with this little thing without using the fast forward or rewind. If you're in fast forward or if you're in rewind and you touch this, the lifters will stay out, keeping the tape away from the head, but it gives you velocity control of the tape. If the tape's going too fast and you want to slow it down, or you're coming to an end of the reel and you don't want the tape to flap around wherever it's done, you can gradually slow it down with this thing. Manual velocity. I doubt if you'll use it very much, but it's kind of neat. Okay? Okay, next. This is the auto locator. Okay, let's remove that thing. Auto locator is a trade name of MCI. 3M has one of these out. They call it Select Take 2. And everybody calls theirs by a different name. Because MCI came out first. Okay, let's talk about the top part. This is really the auto locator. The rest of it is just the signal electronics. You have a tape position readout. And this reads in minutes, real time in minutes. And this reads in hundreds of seconds. So this goes up to 9/9 and then turns over, and this is just plain old minutes. It's the same thing over here. They've changed that on the auto locator 3 now. It reads out in minutes and seconds. When this thing reads like read 250, 230, make 375, 245. Okay, that's how you read that thing. This is the tape position at all times, and that's the locate position. Okay, the reset button sets either one of these back to 000. If you hit this reset button, the tape position goes back to it resets this counter. If you hit this one, it resets this counter. Okay? Now, what does the start button do? Well, you already know? Okay, it runs it back to whatever is at the locate position. If you have 1823 punched in up here, and you're at 2255 here, you punch the start button, it goes back to the number that's punched in here. It goes back to the locate. Okay? No. Yes, it does go forward. Sure. It's forward. So if you had 550 here and you wanted to go to 10 something, yeah, it goes back with it. This is the little keypad that you punch the numbers in here with. Okay. Keypad punches these numbers in here. If you want to punch a set of numbers into the tape position, or if you want the tape position and the locate position to be the same number, that's what these little blue switches are for. When you hit this switch that's pointing this direction, whatever is in this readout is also in this readout. You have 550 here, and you punch this button, and 550 appears here. Okay? If you punch this button, whatever is in the tape position is moved to the locate position. So then they both become the same. The tape position is 550, and you hit this button, then the locate position. So if you just finish one tune and you're at 730 or something up here, and you never want to go back farther than that because you're going to start working on another tune, and you want to make sure that you don't go back before that in the race. You just punch this little button here, and that resets your locate position. Okay? Which one? This one here? If you need to program a number into the tape position. No, it wouldn't move. But say, for instance, half of the tape is recorded on, okay? And they've got the auto locator numbers written down for each tune. And you just put the reel on for your session. You're going to rewind the tape and try and find the last tune that's on that tape. Okay? When you find the beginning of the last tune should correspond with their auto locator number. So, obviously, they're not going to because they're not set to that reel. So you need to set it to that reel. So you find the last tune, and if it's 1285 or something like that, you punch 1285 up in here, and then you hit this button, and that sets the tape position at 1285. And now you're ready to go on past that tune and you can start recording and have your auto locator number all somewhat accurate. Believe me, you'll find these. These are okay. Throwing tapes on and off. Makes you this thing really makes your job a lot faster, especially when you're working fast. And it's not going to take you long to find out once you get out. Those of you who will be getting jobs as engineers, that although it's nice to have a laid back session and take your time getting the sound and stuff like that, nobody ever wants to wait on an engineer. They wait on you, will be waiting on a musician to get their part or something like that, but they don't even hardly want to know that you're there. They don't want to have to say, well, we got to wait for you. Set up like you've almost got to do it without them even knowing it. And anything that makes your job faster is an asset. It's definitely an asset. Zip on. Yes. Back it in. Put that this one. Yeah. How do you make these numbers different? Well, let's say we're at the beginning of a reel tape, okay? Both of these are at 0. We're at the beginning of our reel and we punch the reset button, so anything that's in there is cleared there at 0. When you press the play button, and you start playing the tape, this starts counting. It reads off the tape time in minutes and hundreds. Okay? So right away, they're going to be different. Your located position is going to be 0, 0, 0, 0. This is going to be counting K2. Does that answer your question? Sure.
Let's see, and I just want to go back to the left as well. All into that on front side.
Yeah. When you hit this,
On 512, make a whole thing.
no. If you want to go back to 512, this keyboard always feeds this display here. It never just feeds this one unless you push this one here. So you punch 512 into the locate position. Okay? And wherever this one is at, it's going to advance, or it's going to rewind, come back to 512. Now, if you punched up 512 and hit this button over here, that would make both of them the same. So when you hit the start button, it would already be there. So it wouldn't search. Yeah. Right. Is that okay? Next. Okay, this is basically the control electronics. That's the record button. These are the logic commands. Forward, play, stop, fast forward, rewind. Been rubbed off. That's what they are. Okay? If you look over here inside, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a little yellow dot and it says record ready. The red dot that says record. The green dot that says cue. Above each one of these, there's a set of 2 buttons for every track. See that? There's 2 buttons for each track. And above those 2 buttons, a white one and a gray, or a black one and a gray one. And above those, there's 3 lights. Okay? You know what cue means? Okay, that's what it means on a console. On a tape machine, cue means you're listening back off the record again. Okay? Cue means you're listening back off the record again. Same as sing. Same as sing. Same as simulsing. Yeah. That's what it is. Cue is listening back off the recording. And why in the world you have to do that? We know that. Or overdubbing, so the tracks will be in sync. Right above each of these gray buttons is where that little green light is.
That.
Send us like.
Sorry.
Don't stay. Where is it? Okay, back.
You guys are figures in the morning walk.
Definitely don't smoke it. Back to you anyway. So right above all these little gray buttons is a little green light. When that little green light is on, it's indicating that that track is in cue mode, or it's synced, it's playing back off the record again. Okay, that's what the little green light means. Now, there's 2 ways you can do that on this sheet. You can push all of these little gray buttons in, get it in cue, or you can press one little master button down here. It says auto, and it has a little green dot in it. It comes on when you press it, and when you hit that auto button, all the track automatically go to cue. Like that. Yeah. Keep up. Yeah, you can. This is all motion sensing live, so you don't have to wait for the machine to come to please stop. You can go from. In fact, one thing that you can do is if you're mixing a song, you have your auto locator all set up, so when you press the start button, it's going to go back to the beginning of the song. You can press the start button and press the play button, and it will rewind back to the beginning of the song and go and play. Okay? Or you can press rewind, hit play, hit the slow down, and then play, or all of the machines you have to worry about it. The old Apex capabilities and stuff like that. I have wish of it. Those, if you go up with rewind and play or something like that, it will break the tape section or stuff. Something like that. They're doing this. Okay, we're talking about too. This little auto button here takes care of the whole ball of wax. So hit that and then it's okay. The red button means hold on, record. There's a little red button above, or a little red LED, I don't know, button. A little red light above all 24 tracks, and when that's on, that means you're either recording something or you're erasing something that they don't want to erase. The little yellow light means record ready. When that light is on, means two things. Means that that track is ready to be recorded. It also means that that track is on input. Okay, so that's what the three lights are. Now there's three little buttons down here. Auto means you're going to put it in the sync queue. Tape is a yellow button. When you hit that yellow button, it pops the green one out, and it puts it in the tape or playback off playback. Okay. The input button pops these two out. When you hit that, the tape machine goes to the input mode. No playback. Going into the tape is what's coming out of the tape machine, monitoring inputs of the tape machine. That button is input. Okay. A little black button is the record ready button. You say, how to pre-play recording these things in machine. You push this little black button in, the yellow light comes on, and then when you push the play and the record button, the red light comes on and you start racing. Okay? That's what the black button is for. That's the record ready button. That's how you put the machine, that's how you get ready to record this MCI. Okay? Let me turn the lights on and go over this one little signal flow diagram with you. Find the one with the big VU meter on it. Shut the lamp off on that. Keep the fan on. Switch in the back, not the bottom. Okay, here's a basic signal flow for a tape machine. Actually, there's one little adjustment that's missing on here. When you come to the input of the machine, which is on the left-hand side of your little chart here, before you even get to the record level, there's always an input adjustment to the machine. It's not drawn on here, but every tape recorder has an input level adjustment. So it should be before the record level. Okay, the first one you'll see on your sheet is a record level. And right after that, the signal splits up and goes two different places. Goes to the record head. And it goes to the VU meter into a switch. Hopefully the switches. Okay, on a tape machine, the output of the tape machine is always going to be in one or two modes. It's either going to be in tape or playing back the tape off of either head, the record head or the playback head. It's either going to be in tape or it's going to be in source. Okay? Now, if it's in source, the output is exactly what the input is. Okay? Following the signal flow, if you have a signal coming in here and the switches were in source, they would be in the opposite position that they are on your drawing. The signal would come in, it would go to the record head, okay, and it would go that trip, but it would also go right to the output, and the view meter would be reading the input. Sure. This is source mode, okay? What's that? Right. You're hearing what's being sent to the machine, okay? Because the same thing that's here is appearing here. This is the output. Okay? The signal comes in, goes to the record level pot, it goes up to the record head, and if you're recording, it goes on tape. But when you're in the source mode, this little switch is closed here, and it goes through your little output level control, and it goes right on up the output of the machine. So the two are the same. Input and output is just going right to the electronics of the machine. The VU meter, which is down here, is hooked up so that it's reading the information in source. Whatever you're setting the machine, that's what the meter on the machine is reading. Is that okay? Okay. Let's hook it up so it's in tape. Let's get chalk on the carpet. Now, this is the way your drawing looks. Your drawing is in the tape mode. Now we're in tape mode, okay? Now the signal comes in, it goes to the record head, doesn't make it down to the VU meter yet, but what happens is it goes to the record head, gets recorded, and comes back from one of the heads. I didn't draw the sync switch in there, but the sync switch determines which head it's going to be played back on, correct? Right. Okay. Comes back from the tape, okay, from one of the heads that's being played back to the head, comes back through, goes to the output of the machine, and also goes to the VU meter. So now the VU meter is reading the information that's being played back from the tape. And the output of the machine and electronics is also giving you what's being played off the tape. Okay? That's kind of an important concept to get, because if you don't get that, you won't know what the freak we're talking about when you get to overdubbing and stuff like that. Anyway, tape and source. Those are the two modes you need to know. Let me draw up a situation where you'd need it, okay? Make it a little clearer to you. I'm a big-time recording engineer doing a session, and I need to use my tape source button. Okay? I got my rhythm tracks done. I'm doing a string over them, okay? The console is going to be, do you know about the console signal flow? Okay. The console is going to be in the tape monitor mode. The tape is going to be the information being fed to the console. Okay? So our console is in tape. What did they call it? Did they call it monitor mix? Did he have any special word that he used for it here? On the console, on the steer board, I think it's the sync button. Okay, did he give you any certain word that I should read for you? Okay, the console's in tape mode, okay? I've got, the first 8 or 10 tracks or so filled, and I've got more monitoring knobs and stuff like that. Now I've got, let's say, 5 mics out of the studio, so I've got 5 faders coming into the board. And they're all signed over the tape machine, and they're going to the tape machine. And without screwing up the mode of the board, I want to be able to hear the strings fine, so I can EQ them You get the level set before I put them on tape. Now, if I put my tape machine, let's say tracks 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, one tracks to string. Let's say I'm going to use 5 tracks. Just direct assign them. Let's say I want those 5 tracks. I want to record my string going. Well, what I would do is simply put those 5 tracks on the tape machine in what? Source. Okay, so now what happens is, see, the console is seeing the output of the tape machine. Okay, so I've got some mics coming through the console. They're going over to the tape machine. When I put those tracks in source, then the tape machine feeds me the same information that it's seeing. It feeds it to the console monitor section. Okay, so now I can hear my string. Follow that at all? Great. Okay, so that's how it's done. That's the situation that you would use it in. There is another way that you could do it, but you'd run into a problem, and I'll explain it to you. You could have several tracks on the console, or several channels, seeing the return from the tape, and you could have several channels on the console seeing the microphone input. Could you not? You could. Just pop a couple of sync buttons up, or put it in the mic mode, or however you do it on the console. Okay, you could do that. But now, let's say you're going to do 2 passes of strings. You record the first pass, or you just want to give the string back. Okay? You recorded them. Now you got to come and you got to monkey with the console, get the tape machine to play back through. Okay? The other way, the way that I suggested, with the console all in tape and the tape machine in source, all you got to do is hit the play button on the tape machine, and we're going to play and play the stuff back. Let me get this back on, and I'll show you how that works. Let me turn the slap jack back on. When you're stopped on this tape recorder and you hit the record ready button, those tracks get ready to record, but they also go to source. They go to input. Okay? You go to input, you get ready to record. So your meter starts reading what you're sending you. When you hit the play button, the yellow light stays on, ready to record, but that track goes to play. You'll see this little green light light up. It'll start coming down. And you hit the playback button. It does not go into record until you hit the record button. When you hit the record button, it goes into record, and also goes back to source. Okay? So you see, the way I have my console set up so that it's seeing the tape, playback of the tape, this way, if I'm going to record on these tracks down here, put my strings down, I push these black buttons in, and it goes to source. It's ready to record, and I get my little light too, and I'm happy, and I'm sending it over the tape, and my producer's overjoyed. And I push the play button and record button, and I record. Now when I want to play that tape back, all I have to do is rewind and hit the play button. But I don't have to take these out necessarily. All I have to do is hit the play button, and it goes, those tracks to play. See how easy that is? Minimal amount of work. Okay? Now, non-fictitious situation. Let's say they need to rehearse with the track. They need to rehearse their parts with the rhythm track. They practice, find any mistakes in the copy and all that good stuff. A way that you can make this thing go into play with those tracks that you selected to record on, still staying in input, is to press the auto button and the input button both in at the same time. And get hold of them, they'll lock in. These 2 buttons right here. Then when you do that, these 2 buttons are locked in. Any of these black buttons that you hit, put it in record ready. Put it in record ready. Those tracks will also go to source while the tape is going. Now we'll rehearse the buttons. Follow? Okay. If you have any more questions about this, I want to move on. Next slide. Okay, see these yellow lights? That means that all these little black buttons are pressed in, and they are in record ready. Okay? The green lights are out, meaning that they're not in queue. They're in record ready. They're getting ready to record on all 24 tracks. Next slide, history. Now see all the green lights on? See them? Little green LEDs? That means that the tape is none of the tracks are in record ready. We're all going to play back off the record thing right now. Play back and sync. You hit that play button. If you look down here and see the auto button is the only button pressed in. Here's what's okay, now we've got 4 tracks selected to record. Tape is in play. Okay? And these 4 tracks are ready to record. Now, they've got to set up the way I was just telling you. You can take the play and be source. If the input button and the auto button were not both pressed, if we just had the auto button down, these little green lights would be on. The tape would be playing. Correct? Because all these other tracks right now are playing. Green lights on and they're playing back off the record head, and you're ready to overdub on these first 4 tracks. We've got the input button and the auto button both pressed, and these 4 record readies. So these 4 tracks are in source right now, and they're ready to be recorded. Okay? Next slide. Now we have another situation. The only thing different is that these 4 tracks are in record. The only thing you see different is that the little red light is on those 4 tracks and the master record light is on down here. Okay? Next slide. Different, babe. I don't see it with the phone. It's still recording.
Replace stuff.
No, it's still going. It's still the other lights on. Can't record without being in play. Now, it's just a matter of technique. I think around here they always tell you to keep these 2 buttons in all the time. When you want to play something back, you always have to pop the black buttons out. That's button pushing. You do it the way they say it. I won't say the way I do. I just push the auto button in. And when you record, you have these little black buttons. You want to play it back, you just have to play with it. If you decide you're going to keep whatever you recorded there, then you can pull those tracks out. Okay? Sure, they'll teach you the way they put it. So then, will they get in focus in there?
Back.
Is that all more than it? Oh, this is the other direction.
That's good.
That's close. Just don't bump into any cars. This is the head block right here, okay? See those 3 heads?
Yes.
What head is this?
Racing.
What head is this? What head is this? Okay, see the track with there's all 24 tracks. Go ahead. Somebody asked me why the race head looks.
I thought his head looked like that.
Hey, I've got an answer. This is something that MCI brought out just a couple of years ago. It's fairly new. It's called a full track race head. Okay, not all tape machines have this. It's really nice to have. Ours does not have this. We have the same machine, but ours is about a year older and it doesn't have the full track race head. See how these are staggered? When all 24 tracks are in record or erasing, you're erasing full width of 2-inch tape. So you get the full track erase. Okay, thanks. The other erase heads, the older ones and ones on different machines, basically look like the record head. Okay, you had what's called a guard band in between all tracks. And you didn't have full track erase. So what happens if the guy brings us that tape is recording the track, marks with erase, and records one of the tracks. Then it all works. You get bleed from the other tracks. The more tracks you mix in, the worse it sounds, the more your own tune that you hear. So for totally wiping a tape and starting from scratch, it's full track erase is really nice to get into. Okay? Head step. Any questions? Next slide. Okay, back at the top. There's a couple of lights that I didn't back home in. Play this stuff. On all the tape machines you work with, you're going to find some button that corresponds to the tape button. You're going to find some button that corresponds. That's it. Yeah. You're going to find a button that corresponds to the tape button, to the input button, to the auto button. You may have different names, but on every tape machine you're going to find something like that. Isn't that wonderful? See these lights above the view meters? What do you think the red means? That means that that track isn't recorded unless it's turned out. It's a full-time job just to keep these crazy lights going. The blue light above each of these view meters, when that light is on, it means that that track is in input, okay, or source. So you have two indicator lights above each view meter. When the blue light is on, unless it's burned out, it means that that track is in source or input. When the red light's on, it means that that track is in input. Okay. See, I got it's 5:30. Let's break for a few minutes. Come back. Okay. Great. Miss my arm. Tape drive. Isoloop is the name that 3M Mincom gave it. They and Techniques are the only companies that I know that employ this type of tape drive. Techniques puts it in their RSU 1500. But all the 3M Mincom machines use this. Okay? They call it isoloop because the tape is in an isolated loop, basically, okay? If you look at the diagram, there's a supply reel going by two fixed tape guides. There aren't any of the little tension arms like there are on the other machines. And it goes to an incoming capstan idler. And it goes past the race head and the record head. It goes by a reversing idler. And goes past the playback head and the outgoing capstan idler. Tape sensor, which is a little photoelectric cell, and then a take-up reel. There's a picture. Well, actually, there's a good enough picture I can talk about here with you. You see right below it the picture of it, and you see the capstan, and you see it says strobe cap. See all those little marks on there? That's one thing that's nice about creating one of them. Out of all two of them, probably. Not a big 3M fan. That little strobe cap allows you to adjust the speed on the machine. If you stick a neon light up there, and dim the lights around so you can see it fairly well. There's a large set of marks and there's a small set of marks. One set of those marks will look like they're standing still at 15 IPS if the speed is adjusted properly. If it's not, there's a little pot right at the top of the machine you can adjust it with. And the other set is for 30 IPS. That's something that's not common to all machines, and it allows you to keep an eye on the speed of the machine to make sure it's always constant. Okay? One other thing that makes them special, see if I can find it here. And it's in the way they put, in the way the tape is driven through. By the way, the machine that they show mostly in your book is an Ampex AG440. It's an old dinosaur. But if you're lucky, you wanted to work with them. Look at page 292 in your book real quick. Going past the heads by trying to pull it out faster than it's pushing it in. Okay? The one on the left is the incoming tape would come in on that side, and the one on the right is the outgoing fiber. What it does is it tries to pull it just a little bit faster than it's supplying it, so it keeps a nice tight tension. So that's the 3M isolate. One point I wanted to make about the position of the head between the two different machines, between all machines, but that fact is on the MCI. See if we can get that thing back. That's what I was going to. One word you're going to hear a lot of, and you're going to have to learn how to do it. And it's lots of fun, and it's a big headache and everything else. It's punching in. Pick that down, you might remember. Okay, punching in is when you're playing through a track, and you say you just want to repair one small part of the tape. While the tape is playing, you punch the record button on that particular track. They kind of just where the guy's playing, punching in. At any rate, the efficiency of the machine to do that depends on a lot of how far apart the heads are. See the erase head and the record head here? See how far apart those are? So at 15 IPS, that's going to leave, when you punch in, it's going to leave a little bit of a gap because it's going to start erasing before it starts recording. 3M has one thing really together. See how close the erase head and the record head are? They are physically that close. They're very, very close. Look at the 3M 2-track in. They're very, very close. It's one of the nicest machines that I've ever punched in on. Or out, as far as that goes, because it barely leaves any gap in or out. And MCI is, lately they've gotten their stuff together. The older machines are harder to work on. But when you're trying to punch out a machine, especially with piano, it leaves a great big gap because the heads are so far apart. They've got new electronics in the newer machines that fix that now. But for those of you who are going to fast become big-time famous freelance engineers, knowing how the heads are placed in the tape machine's capabilities for punching in and out, it's often related, it is related directly to how far apart you did a tape, you didn't like it, you just do the entire tape over again, start to finish. Okay? Now, I know, I've been in. Now, say the entire tape is fine, except the bar. Missed the notes, you did something. The rest of the tape is fine, and you just tired. I don't feel like the bag. So you find the particular part of the tape that you want to fix. Back up a couple of bars before it. The singer sings along. You play the tape. Part that you want to fix, you punch the machine in to record on that track. It's a broken track. You punch in on that track. Okay? He's now fixing his part. It's going into record. Just on that section. When he's done with that section, punch the play button, goes out of record, and the rest of the entire tape, before that and after that, have been saying, they're still there. So you've repaired maybe 3 or 4 words, you've repaired one phrase without losing the entire people. Editing is when you physically cut the tape. We learned how to punch in that. A lot of times, we believe how much stuff is pieced together, word by word, phrase by phrase, just by punching in and punching out. Okay? 10 minutes, I want to talk. Unless you have any questions, stuff I've covered.
Still on electronics device.
For the in and out? Okay, good question. For what it's for, MCI calls it Choir Electronics. They built it into their new machines, the ones that come with the auto locator free. Then they abbreviate it like this. And it stands for Quiet In and Out of Recording. Quiet Initiation of Recording. Okay, and what they do is rather than when you turn the machine on, the bias just coming right up and immediately going on to the erase head and erasing the track, what it does is when you punch in on one of these type of machines, the bias comes on gradually. Okay, it's not a real slow process, but it's gradual so that it's not going to leave any type of audible gap. When you punch out, it does the same thing. It gradually diminishes. That's the back of it, basically. And what happens, I've used a machine with Choir Electronics on it before, and what you basically get is a real subtle crossfade from the new track to the existing track. One of my biggest pet peeves is punching out piano. I won't punch out a piano part. I'll punch it in and play to the end, but I won't punch it out unless there's a definite rest, or else it leaves a big hole in our machine. It's leaving a big, obnoxious gap. It's real automatic. On the machines with Choir Electronics, the bias the record head are turned off gradually. Current is diminished on slope, it just kind of crossfades, and it really doesn't make a whole lot. Now on a 3M machine, see now that's not going to be much of a problem, so you don't have to come up with extra electronics because the erase head and the point head are so close together that it's not going to leave much of a gap at all. And if it does, if you punch out properly, it's not going to be normal. For those of you worried about your music training, rhythm is a real important thing when it comes to punching in and punching out. If you don't have rhythm down, you will develop by the workshop and work at the because you can't just punch in at random. Okay, right here. The guy has a certain section he wants to fix something like that. You have to punch just a hair before the beat. So if you do before that beat, if you're going to punch out, you have to punch out just a hair after that beat. A hair before the next beat. It takes a while to learn. You won't snap your fingers and it develops rhythm. Okay, that's how MCI has overcome that problem. Okay? What Ampex has done in their 1200s, I don't know. 3M obviously doesn't have a problem. That's how they've overcome fire returns. Okay. Let me just touch on tape machine alignment real quick, okay? You always, when you're lining a tape machine, and they will cover this in detail during their maintenance seminars. I'll touch on it today. So you know a little bit more about tape machines and you know that they're flexible and you can stick any kind of tape on there and hopefully make it work. Okay? First of all, you've got to find some type of reference level to align a machine code. Okay? Ampex, who's been around probably longer than any other tape manufacturer, came out with what they called a zero standard reference level a long time ago. Okay? Zero reference level. Okay? They called it 185 nanowebers. Okay? Ampex said it's a magnetic measurement. It's not from the market literature. It's zero reference level for Ampex was 185 nanometers per meter. So if you played it, there are two types of tape, basically two types of tape in this country anyway, that you align your machine for on playback. That's the MRS, standard tape laboratory, and magnetic reference laboratory. Okay, these are the guys that come out with the reference tapes. Because if you're recording your tape at one studio, then you want to take it to another studio, you want to make sure it's compatible, right? So the National Association of Broadcasters, NAB, came out with some standards. We follow this. That's why you can take a tape from one studio to the next. Magnetic reference laboratory. Standard tape laboratory. Okay. Yeah. No, I haven't some of that yet. What these tapes are nothing more than a set standard. It's a level with it's a tape with a standard level recorded on it. May have, for example, an alignment tape. We have add tones to set the machine the head's azimuth with. It has tones to check the tape's frequency response with, and it has tones to set your beating to zero. Okay, and all of these tones on the tape are recorded in a standard operating level. Okay, something that everyone can put together. Nanowebers. Nanowebers. Per meter. Nanowebers per meter. Okay, so if you want to align your tape machine, the first thing you do is clean it, of course. And what you need, the basic tool you need, is an alignment tape. Something that adheres to industry standards, something that everyone else is using to align your tape machine. That's a, either two companies that make for standard tape laboratory and then reference laboratory. You get yourself a standard reproducer alignment tape. You can phone record them so that you can fix your machine all on. And all these tones are at a standard operating level. What's the standard operating level? 185 nanomotors per meter. Okay? Is 0 VU. So they play a tone. There's instructions on these tapes now. They play a 1 kilohertz tone and they say 1 kilohertz tone at 185 operating level of 185 nanometers per meter. Set reproducer gain for the direct VU will be 0. Okay? So now you set your VU meter up for 0. Or VU meters. Okay? Now your machine is set. When you get done with it, set the 0 playback level and set frequency response as it's called and stuff. And this tape machine is set to industry standard. Okay? Yeah. That depends. Depends on a couple of things. Turn your machine on and off every day. The electronics tend to drift a lot faster than if you leave it on. That's why you have to make a playback to depend on how much you use your machine. Our machine is used 5 issues, say, hours a day. You know, we leave ours on 24 hours a day, so we use the same type of tape for 2 weeks in a row, which is rare. We have 2 weeks. But our machine has lots of modifications on it, so we can go different levels of different tape and stuff. So we have clients who can actually switch different types of tape, but on the average, every 2 weeks, small studio. Or big time studio in Chicago, like playing it back and stuff like that. They have all kind of maintenance guys, they keep this stuff in check. Sure. Okay, so now we have a 0 reference level, 185 nanometers per meter. There's one other reference level that somebody else came out with, and they're calling it their standard 0, and they call it 200 nanometers per meter. Okay, there's a 1 dB difference between the two. Okay, so 1 dB difference between these two. So it's not critical. Okay, so you line your machine all up to 0. Before I break, let me just tangle your taste buds with little signal noise ratio stuff here, okay? Boy, they're coming out with hotter tapes these days. They say you can pack more stuff on. You can imagine. And that you can put more level on them and get a better signal noise ratio. Well, to get a better signal noise ratio, you want to put more stuff on tape, right? More signal, less audible noise, right? Okay? So we could get ourselves a tape with a reference level of 250 nanometers. 250 nanometers per meter equals about plus 3 dBs. Okay? And one way that you can pack more stuff on your tape is by turning playback gain down. Okay? Now, when you adjust, the adjustment that you're going to use to set the output of the machine at this reference level, 185 nanometers, so that your VU meters read 0, is on the MCI card. It's a little trim pot that says repro right beside it. Okay. At any rate, it's playback gain control. Okay, playback gain. If you want to put more stuff on your tape, and let's say the only test tape you have is the 185 nanometer test tape, which is what, 0 VU, right? It's 0 reference level. One way you can do that would be when you align your machine, you align all the needles to read -3. Okay, turn playback. Okay. When you set your machine up to record, put the machine in record, speed of the tone, and you set your record gains That'll be the adjustment of the trim point you use to make this again. Set it so it reads at 0. You know, got 3 dB more on tape. Had we not turned the playback down, just turned the record up, the meters would be banging. Okay? So we're turning the playback down by 3 dB and turning the record up by 3 dB. It's kind of fooling the meters. We're packing 3 dB more signal in the tape. They're going to go over that in a lot more detail, but I just wanted to get you interested in alignment, which is a little bit about the companion for the tapes. Thank you for being so attentive. I guess it's about 6 o'clock. Thank you.
You don't want to record on it. You've already got recorded. You have to have some way to choose that.
Oh, okay, that's.
Let's just wait. You don't have to get up and test it. I'm just doing all from right there and run the whole machine from there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like those Atari machines on the left of the 8-track in Studio B. Those are that's the same function.
Right. Right.
It's not part of the.
The only thing that's on the tape machine itself, that's on the auto locator, are these controls right here. Okay, your functions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't yet been to Studio C, but you just said that the input and the auto buttons, if you push them at the same time, and then if you push a play button, all your tracks will be ready to record.
No. No, you have to pick individually the tracks you want to record on. Every one of these black buttons are pushed down right now.
I see. So those 2 buttons have nothing to do with recording.
Uh,
It's just listening to the signal.
right. Right. It's how you monitor that signal is what these buttons have to deal with.
Okay.
Okay, let's go on to another one here.
Wait.
Okay. This green button here is in that says auto underneath it. And we have all the green lights on it. What does that mean?
This is a playback.
Okay. We're listening to all the tracks. Somebody's having a good time, guys. Maybe we'll turn the lights back on. Okay, that means we're listening to all those tracks via the record head.
So all those tracks are recorded. You got to write synchronize those.
No, we're hearing them off of the record head. Okay, they're not ready to record until we push in these black buttons and light up these yellow lights.
Yeah. You only wish that like in you're gonna do a punch in or an overdone. Really? So because otherwise you just playback.
Right. You definitely have to have it in this position when you're doing an overdub or a punch in. When you're doing a remix, you can go ahead and switch it to tape if you want.
How don't you go about punching in?
Okay, how do you punch in? You would push a record ready, first of all. Okay, and you would push input and auto down here at the same time. And you would also push this individual green light on the track that you was going to record on. When you push in this black one, if this gray one is not in, then you do not get your monitor off of the record head on that track until you push in that green one too. Okay, so we push these 2 in, and we push these 2 in, and we play the tape. And the guy is now hearing off of the record head the previous track that he has just laid down. As soon as we punch this red button, then he hears his own instrument or a live microphone that you have set up. Okay? When we stop that tape and take it back out and record, then it goes back to playing off of the record head.
Say like you're gonna use like say you didn't have as many tracks and say there's one part of the tape you recorded on and the rest of the tape there's nothing recorded on it. You want to punch in on it. So you'd punch those 2 in and those 2 on and you'd play it till it ran past you already recorded. Then you want to like dub in on that extra tape that isn't used, and as soon as you're ready to record it while it's still running, just hit that record button. Then from that point on you can record on what's the leftover piece of tape.
Yes. Okay. That's- You're right. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, this is a nice one.
Okay, this one we're ready to record on these four, and the rest of them we're listening to them off of the record head. I guess we're ready for the next one already. Okay, this one. We pushed them.
Somebody's
Oh, isn't that pretty?
the crust was on.
Okay, so now we're recording up here, and the red lights lit down there,
That could be tough to handle.
and the rest of them we're listening to off of the record head, as if we was overdone it. Okay, let's go to the next one. This one looks pretty much like the other one, doesn't
Wow.
Hold on now.
it? Welcome to the heads.
The headshot.
These are the heads. Oh my God.
They look like they're rolling something.
Rolling, they're not rolling now. They're waiting
They're waiting.
to get rolling.
Okay, the shields are definitely down in this picture. We've got, which head is this?
You ready?
How can you tell? Okay, this one is, and this way, and this one over here. Okay.
He's cherry.
Just checking.
Beer.
Okay, we have these metal bars here, which are what you call your tape guide. And we've got our heads, and in each one of these little marks going across there is a gap. Okay, and there's 24 on there. And this piece of metal up here that the heads are mounted to is called a head block. And that's where you have your adjustments when you adjust your alignment of the heads. Okay, what's that white thing over there?
That's your record. That's your record.
That's your record, okay? Sure.
Where?
That's your capstan. This one, yeah.
Oh.
This one right there. Okay, and we got this little button here that moves this thing in and out. Q. Okay, fair enough. And we got this knob here that does what? This one right here. This little knob right here.
That's your locator for outside. You have outside deck or something like that. Is that three-way switch on?
No, that's your high-low speed. I just wanted it. Okay, let's go on to the next one.
I can always see your session test.
Here we go.
Simple.
Okay, that's the 3M machine. What kind of tape system is it? Okay. And the tape goes in through here, and this side of the capstan wants to hold it back a little bit, and this side wants to just jerk it right through there faster than this one will allow it to come by.
And the tape snaps in the middle. I'm sorry, I forgot.
Yeah. No Jones.
No jokes. Okay, we got the power on. That's self-explanatory. Right here, that's the reel balance. And that's for if you put a small reel on one side and a large reel on the other side. And it's a rocker switch. You've either got your small reel on the left, or your small reel on the right, or small reel on both sides, which puts this switch right in the middle. Okay, this is your capstan speed. And it's high, low, 15 or 30.
Same thing as, does the pin come with the tape deck?
No, that's optional. Okay, we've got the function controls over here, which are fast forward, rewind, and all that stuff. Right here, we've got a mode response, which is 1, 2, 3. That's the same thing as the torque limit on the MCI. And way back here on the end, we got a tape tension, which has to do with the torque limit also. Down here on the bottom, this is where we control which tracks we want to record on. And we do that by pushing in these two red safeties and pushing in the record safety in the middle and then pushing play record. And then we're recording. The green lights mean we're listening off of the record head. The white light means we're listening off of the input, and the yellow light means we're listening off of the reproduce head.
Why are there 3?
4.
Why are there 3 sets?
Oh, why are there 3 sets? 1 for the left and 1 for the right, and a master. Okay, I think we can go on ahead there. This is, could you move that over that way a little bit?
Yes.
Thank you. This shows you the a close-up of the closed loop system there. Does anybody know why this has white lines on it?
I just drove it into.
Right, so we can put a little neon light up against that and make sure that's running at the correct speed. Okay, we can go on to the next one. This thing right here that shines the light, what is that?
Safe.
Safety switch. Okay. And this gives you a shot of 2 of the heads there. Erase and record. Where's the playback head? Okay, it's on the other side. And I guess we can go to the next one. Guess we can go to the next one. That's the inside of the MCI.
Nothing hard.
Just what it looks like there. The appendix, the kidneys down here, and here's the intestines, and we won't even talk about them. Okay, that's the Atari. Okay, we got our record safeties, which determine which tracks we're going to record on. We got our selective reproduce, which lets us hear off of the record head. We've got input volumes to turn our lines coming into it up or down. And underneath these lens caps here, there are the screws to do the adjustments on it, to do the electronic realignment. Here, okay, we can plug headphones in right there. That's a test oscillator. When we push that and we have these tape source switches out on source, then it provides a level for us to record on the tape, and we use that to realign our playback part of the machine. Okay, we have an output level here. We have something that's called an SRL with this little switch right here. And when we switch that, it gives us exactly the same level out of that machine that we recorded on the tape, providing we use the same tape that that machine is biased for. Okay, what kind of transport is this? Open loop. There's the capstan. There's the capstan idler. Here's the safety switch. Here's the edit control that disconnects that safety switch and disconnects the take-up reel. Supply reel, cue control for the tape lifters. Counter, which are not accurate, is not accurate. Power on off, speed high low, 7.5 and 15 in this case. And reel size, large and small, which has to do with the size of the hubs. And let's go on to the next. Okay, this is a close-up.
It's
Getting closer. This time we're recording. These red lights are lit up. All right. And this thing that the heads are mounted on is called a head block. And we have an idler here. And all that other stuff I showed you earlier. Let's go on to the next.
That machine.
Yeah, has 4 heads on it. It's got an erase, record, playback for a hat track, and a playback for a quarter track. And it's got a little switch that sets right up on top of here on that other tape machine that switches that. All right, go back to that last one, please.
Is it half track and stereo?
Half track and stereo and quarter tracks and stereo. Okay, this is the TAC 80-8. We've got the tension bar there. We've got an inertia idler here. You got a head shield here that you have to operate manually on this one. You've got heads beneath there. Capstan idler, safety switch, the functions, Q, which controls the tape lifters, and here we have an output select. We have input, which allows us to listen to the input on that machine. Normal, which is the record head, and monitor, which is the tape head. Even though that seems it should be the other way around, that's the way it is. Okay, here we have a function select. This determines which tracks we're going to record on. Memory off on, it keeps track with this counter. This counter is not like an auto locator. It will slip occasionally and it's not to be trusted. Power on off. And here we have these knobs here which control the playback of those particular channels and the inputs.
And inputs.
The inputs. Okay.
And
Yes.
why is this particular machine the capstan and capstan out in reverse?
Because it's a poor design. And every time, no, seriously, every time that you push that into play, it squeezes that up against that capstan and skids off a little bit of that oxide,
As opposed to the other way around.
as opposed to the other way around. But that's the way they decided to make it, and that's the way it is.
Send them a letter.
I'm sure they've already heard about it, but they still make them. Okay, let's go on to the next. That was for the DVX. Okay, here's the heads, and they are.
Try to mess this up.
Trying to be sneaky.
Well, let's do that.
Okay, this is same thing as the other shot there, only a little bit closer. We already know what all that stuff is, so we'll go to the next one.
That's it. Good.
That's it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get something to go. Nice to yes, clap.
Wait.
Very funny. We're